All right, everybody, we are back again for another episode of the Coach's Compass. Don't know what episode it is because we can just continue to roll and bring on cool coaches. So remember, hit that subscribe, like, comment button down below so we can continue to bring on cool coaches and have them come on and share their stories and give you guys a lot of knowledge. It's your boy, Coach Coop, reporting live all the way over here from Europe. My boy, Coach Jay, right now is currently traveling to Milan as he's still playing in the ELF, so he's got to get ready for a game tomorrow, so that's why he can't be here with us today. But it doesn't matter. We're just going to continue to roll. All right, we've got another huge special guest with us today. We got Coach Melissa, or just Melissa, because she's also still playing herself, but professional football player, or as we in the U.S. like to call it, playing soccer in Portugal as a goalkeeper. Went to the University of Miami as a goalkeeper. She is an online strength and conditioning coach. She has a bachelor's in exercise physiology and a master's in strength and conditioning. She is from Quebec, Canada. And on top of all things, she's out there living her best life. And you guys in Quebec like to speak French, right?
Yeah, we speak French.
So bonjour, bienvenue. That's all I got for you. Bonjour, je m'appelle Edmond. That's it. That's all my mom taught me. Right? I didn't make it that far in French class, but welcome. Thank you for being here with us today. First, what is going on in Coach Melissa's life right now?
Man, a lot. It's busy. I mean, where to begin? As you said, I've been playing in Portugal, so I'm back home now, just summer break. I graduated from the University of Miami in December, and then I went pro starting January. So this is like my first professional contract. And then I guess throughout that whole time, I've just had so much time to myself because obviously the professional world is very different than university. So yeah, I had like afternoons off. I just had training in mornings, so afternoons off. So I decided to embark on my like strength and conditioning journey. Obviously, it's like what I studied and it's what I've been passionate about. So I just decided to start my online business doing that and just like becoming more of a content creator, I guess we can say.
Nah, I mean, obviously we found you through social media and seen a lot of the work that you're doing, but it's tough being a professional athlete and then on top of that trying to balance being a coach yourself too and then trying to get coached by others. How is it, balancing those two, being an athlete like at your highest level and then training clients to try to get to the same level you're at, but also training, I guess you got general population clients too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's complementary, like obviously having the experience as a professional athlete and playing in university that like helps me with like the business I want to build and like my career after soccer. So to me, I'm kind of just seeing it as like building my future a little bit. Obviously, I'll be hopefully playing soccer for still a long time. So this is more like a little side thing for me, but I'm also taking it seriously. Like, it's obviously a lot of time to start. So yeah, it's mostly time management. I think like knowing, if I have a tournament coming up or something, then I got to prepare a lot of stuff ahead of time, like content or like programs for my clients or stuff like that. So a lot of it is just managing my time.
What made you want to go down the route of strength and conditioning or even in the fitness world? Like why that side?
Honestly, I think I just really have a passion for progress. Like that would be the term to use. Honestly, an addiction to progress. Like I love, like building it and like seeing how I used to be comparing it to where I am now. And so same thing for my clients. I love like helping people and like getting them to their goals and where they want to be. And obviously, like I said, it's been my whole life, like sports and training and all that. So I think for me, having a desk job was just not it. I think like that was like the thing I was like I found myself being the most passionate about when I was like talking to people and all that. Like I get lit up more than other things, for example.
So what is some of the progress that you're like super addicted to? Because I mean, there's different avenues, right? You can have the like progress and like in speed, you can have a progress in strength and or you can just be sports performance. Like what is it that gets you so addicted to the progress that you like, yo, I gotta go down this route?
Yeah, man, all of it for real. Like all the I mean, I guess my passion for progress started when I was young, so like that would be with soccer, like jumping up levels, like getting higher and higher. And I feel like that's a big reason why I wanted to play professionally. Like it was just kind of addicting to like keep reaching higher levels. So like in strength and conditioning, I'd say like obviously there was like the like change in kind of like the body type, I guess, like change in figure, seeing from when I started when I was like 16 to like now I'm 23. Obviously like I changed so much. I used to be like a twig, like super skinny, and I think that's also what kind of got me started in that, cuz people used to be like, how you playing sports, you're too skinny, like you're going to break like bones and stuff. So like anyway, started lifting, started doing a lot, learning more about it, and then like now it's like the opposite. They're like, dang, you're so built like for a soccer player. So I'd say like, yeah, just overall that. And then obviously seeing progress in numbers, like actual data, like when you see you can like jump higher than you did last year, or like, I don't know, when I feel faster on the field than I did 2 years ago, things like that.
When were you kind of first introduced to like the weight room and whatnot? Because I know soccer is completely different than, how we handle it in football. Because football, I mean, we're introduced to it at like 12, 13 when we first kind of get out of middle school into high school level. When does it happen for soccer? And then especially in Canada, like it's a different than like USA. It might even be different from Europe. I don't know European soccer that well because it's a hard field to break into. But
Yeah.
when did you start getting into stuff?
I mean, I personally started on my own because here, I guess, like in high school, you do a little bit, but it's like once a week. So it's not really anything that'll get you anywhere, really. And it's a little structured, not that much. It's not very big compared to the States. Like the States is, I think, super well rounded for that. For me, like I started when I was 16, like I said, and just on my own. The thing is I didn't know what I was doing. So I was doing a lot more like bodybuilding type of training, and so I think that's why I'm doing this also, because I want to help those kids that don't know how to train and are training like bodybuilders when you should actually be training like an athlete, because obviously that looks different. College wise, I don't know how it is here, obviously, because I went to college in the States, but as you know, like university in the States, like they're very big on strength and conditioning. Like physique is a big thing. So that helped me grow a lot.
Why the University of Miami instead of staying in Canada?
Honestly, better soccer opportunity. Soccer is bigger in the States. It was in a good conference, so like in ACC. Yeah, it was just better for me to get seen because I knew my goals. I wanted to play pro. So for me, getting out of the country was probably like the best solution. And then, well, obviously, location was a big factor in like deciding that school specifically versus other schools. And then they had, the program I wanted to do and all that. So everything all around seemed pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean the ACC is pretty, not pretty, but really good at soccer. Because I went to Wake Forest before I transferred over to Charlotte, and I know soccer was huge in the ACC. You got your Clemson, your UNC, Miami, all those schools that are really good at soccer. What are some things that you learned at the University of Miami for the strength and conditioning side that you also implement now into like your programming?
I mean, a lot for sure, because obviously this is what I studied, and then I also did like an internship. So I would say like the way to program maybe obviously is big. So not. I think when I first started like learning about it, so like my sophomore year or whatever, like I would kind of just put in exercises, but then I kind of learned like making a model. So like say for the day you want to like have a hip hinge and then like knee hinge or like whatever like your emphasis is for the day, and then plug in the exercise that matches that. I think like they taught me the good way of like programming that like is so simple. Besides that, I mean, I learned how to manage like load, so like on the field versus off the field, and not doing too much off the field, and then doing the proper things to like help you like progress and see results on the field, I think is a big thing. I mean, honestly, I learned like everything about strength and conditioning there, so the list goes on really. But yeah,
But what does it go in to take to be a high level, goalkeeper? Obviously, you got to have the skills of just being like a goalkeeper, right? Um, what does it take like on the strength and conditioning side and sports performance side to get to that level? And what is it like on a every like on a daily basis? What is it like training in the weight room for you?
yeah, it's definitely more like power based. Obviously, like I'm not like running miles like the girls on the field are. Like I like to think as goalkeeping as its own sport, really, because I mean, yeah, you're playing with your feet, but like the game is just so different for us, and like practice in general is different for us. So like you're doing a lot of jumping, a lot of change of direction. Everything is like fast paced, like you want to complete the action as quick and powerfully as possible. So obviously that's kind of the way I like to train in the gym. So this kind of goes back to what I said earlier about training like a bodybuilder, that obviously didn't really translate on the field. It got me stronger, which is like a good base that I needed. But then obviously there's like the power side. So I started training a lot more lower reps, higher weight, and then paired. Like I love contrast sets. I do a lot of those, and then more like specific movements to goalkeeping. So like different change of directions that you'd see on the field, but like more controlled, like in the weight room or using bands, for example, is like a big thing that I like to do. And then lots of plyos. I feel like that is super big because obviously that's most of my job jumping. But then with that, there's also okay, you don't want to do too much off the field since you're doing so much on the field. So it's controlled jumping.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I know for soccer or for female athletes, biggest areas of injury are always going to be those ankles and knees
Hmm.
and hips.
Hmm.
How are you programming to help, kind of, you can't prevent every injury, right? Because injuries just happen, right? Especially non-contact injuries, contact injuries are going to happen, like that stuff happens. What are you doing to kind of get yourself prepared for it and also your athletes and clients that you're working with?
Hmm. So big thing for me that I've kind of grown into, especially like I would say like starting this whole business, I really started to implement a lot more of these things because yeah, obviously injury prevention is big. So I do like a lot of like single leg work, a lot of like balance stuff, a lot of core, obviously like core stability because that's like the basis of everything. So a lot of like unstable like movements that create an unstable environment, if that makes sense. So like things that kind of replicate on the field. I think that is like one of the things that lack a little bit in college is like the more functional training type of thing. Obviously they're big on like lifting, like they're making soccer players bench press, like stuff like that, which is all great. Obviously you need all of that. I think there's timing though as well, and I think like in season is a great time to work on those like little things like preventing injuries and all. And then obviously like you said, knees for soccer players are big, so a lot of like hamstring work is important, adductors. So yeah, I just implement those things.
And you're young in the game, right? You just graduated college, you went straight into being a professional, you did an internship. How has that been, navigating the space of now running your own business and getting people to buy into what you're doing, even though, you haven't, I guess they would say you haven't had as much experience
Mm.
as some of the coaches that have been in the game for 20, 30 years?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it obviously hasn't been like that easy, but I think being a professional athlete kind of helps the like credibility of it. And obviously like the important thing is I know that I know what I'm doing, if that makes sense. And I think that's a big factor, a big buying factor is like if I have confidence, people will have confidence in me. Like if I seem unsure about what I'm doing, then people will also feel unsure. So I think, yeah, I think for me that was a big thing. Just I know what I'm doing. Technically, I really been doing it for years, even though as a coach I just started, but I've been like going through programs and programs, just by different coaches. So honestly, that's kind of experience in itself because I learned from other coaches, and also knowing that that's the field I wanted to go into. Obviously, I was, asking questions, stuff like that. So I took the chance to like learn while I was going through the process by myself. And I think you gain a lot from doing it yourself also because I know what certain things feel like. So if I know I want to, I don't know, have an athlete squat but have like 3 reps in reserve, I know what that looks like because I've done it. So it helps.
So you've got a lot of experience in it.
Tech.
But on top of that, you've got to still learn from somebody. So who are the coaches that you're kind of, learning from and taking bits and pieces and kind of implementing, and kind of that your mentors or guides to all of this?
Well, so when I was at university, obviously my coaches there were like the big mentors for me. Like I asked questions and, like we had a really good relationship where, they'd help me with whatever I needed help with. So they were definitely like a big resource for me. And right now, being more like abroad and all that, I tried to just make connections with the people that I see on a daily. So in Portugal, I was talking to like other coaches that were there that I met, just either at the gym or from my club, see how they program versus what I'm used to programming. Obviously, Europe is so different. So sometimes I don't totally agree with everything they do, but that's fine. You take some and you leave some, but it's like interesting to see how different people do it. And then other than that, I'm a big like self learner. So I keep up with like I'm reading a book right now, for example, or I keep up just on Google. If I have like things, I use articles a lot just to like learn more. And then obviously Instagram is such a big platform now that I think that's a pretty good resource as well. Obviously you got to be careful because there's some like random things being posted, but it can also be really good. I follow, you probably know Squat University. I love that guy.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of educational like Instagram pages that I follow, so you kind of learn from that also.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch out there, and obviously there's also stuff that you got to weed through and be like, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, because there is a bunch of shit on there that you could get lost in and be like, oh, like I want to do that, but they don't really teach you like how they even got to that point. But you also talked about, Europe being different. What are the biggest differences that you're seeing coming from, you're at a premier place. You're at the University of Miami. Everybody knows what that is.
Hmm.
You come from some of the best strength and conditioning coaches. What was it like going from there to here, and what are the differences that you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, it was a harsh. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I went from such a like structured place to like a place that we technically had a strength and conditioning coach, but he was not used. All he did was like run warm ups pretty much. And yeah, I personally didn't have conditioning with the team. Like the players that played less would condition like once a week or something. Yeah, we had no gym also, so I had to buy my own gym membership and go by myself. So thank God I know how to do it because I was on my own really. Yeah, so it kind of gives you an idea. I don't know if,
Wait. Professional athletes don't have like professional soccer players. Y'all don't have a gym, like not even a gym membership that they give you. You got to go get your own.
yeah, my club anyway. I was at a kind of a small club. I mean, we were D1 and we did finish fourth, so we should have better conditions than we had. But yeah, if you go to good teams, obviously they have gyms, but yeah, mine was just like they didn't have much money, so no gym for me. But it was fine. I worked through it. I know what to do, so I did my own thing. But obviously, for like the rest of the team, there's a lot of like skinny girls on there, girls that get like little like random injuries, like strains and like stuff like that. I'm like, it's just so preventable if like you had a better program on the side. But yeah, so and I've talked to other soccer players I know in Europe, and apparently it's similar in other countries. Like they're just not big on strength and conditioning. They're a lot more on like soccer and like they're very technical over there, whereas the States is a lot more physical. Like they want fast, strong players.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but how are you coming over here and combating that and like kind of trying to change the game and help it grow? Because it's the same thing we see in American football, right? Like in basketball and every sport over here in Europe, strength and conditioning is kind of seen as secondary, right? They don't see it as like a necessity that it can like help. But then they talk about American players when we come over here. They're like, oh man, you guys are so much bigger, faster, stronger, but like we're more technical. Why can't there be a balance between the two?
Yeah, there definitely can, I think. I'm not sure what it is. I haven't been there long enough to judge the whole like process, but I don't know if part of it is just belief or ignorance of like the good that comes from strength and conditioning. I mean, we'll see. I'm probably going back there soon, so I'll try and let you know if I find out like while talking more. with other strength coaches, and obviously, like, you know, the hope is I'm there for a while where maybe I can make an impact at the place I'm playing at, or even just around there, you know.
No, I feel that. I mean, we're guys that have been over here for 8 years now, so we've seen the game and how it works over here in Europe. Where you like you got to stay at a place for a certain amount of time for them to get to believe in like what you're doing and get the buy-in. So I'm excited to hear how it's going to go for you year two, and then like hopefully more years going forward, because they need people like you to come over and because you're not only just like played in the U.S. You also come from Canada, so you also seen what it's like to not have a strength and conditioning coach throughout most of high school and then come down to the University of Miami and have one and what it did to help you develop. And now you're going overseas, like, hey, like if we implemented this, like your players will be so much more athletic and less risk of injury and they'll be on the field more and it would help your club out. But, also being a pro athlete, how hard is it for you to actually ask for help with like your programs and somebody to review it and somebody to look at like your lifting and how you're doing? Because yeah, you know it, but I mean, we all still want to be coached because we talk about the progress side of things. It's hard to like we can look at it through our eyes and be like, oh well, I can get by with this and I'll be okay. But like, who's coaching you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, myself right now, I don't really have any like, yeah, I'm not really like surrounded by anyone that could help me right now. I think like if I'm at a different club next season, then maybe there'll be someone there that can just like look over my stuff and be like, yeah, this looks good and all that. To be honest, I kind of know what works for me and I kind of trust myself. So I feel like I kind of got this. I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, that's a great question though.
No, I know it's tough. You know what I mean? Because when I first came over to Europe, I was the same way. I was like, hey, like I know it, like I'm good. Like most of you people over here don't know what you're talking about. But then you run into a few Americans that have been over here that kind of help you tweak some parts and look at what you're doing and help you, even if they're not even in your sport. I think it always helps to have another eye look at what you're doing and
Mm.
kind of help you navigate the space too. Because then it also makes you a better coach. Because we talk about the social media platform, how has social media helped you kind of not only just like see what other coaches are doing, but helped you grow your own business?
I mean, obviously, social media is like so big nowadays. It's like you either get left behind or like hop on the trend, you know? So I kind of had to like hop on it, especially as a professional athlete. We have such a voice and all that, that like, growing following, especially for like women's sports, is so important because like you're not making that much money playing as a woman, like, playing soccer as a woman. So, like, yeah, obviously growing following is a big thing because then you can like get sponsorships and all that. And well, it's just helped me like get seen more, like even by other teams. I've been reached out by some coaches or stuff like that, or like honestly, it's just great from a networking standpoint as well. Just like, for example, being on here, uh,
Yeah,
I
for
wouldn't
sure.
be here if I didn't grow my social media. So yeah, I think it's a great tool to use, especially as a coach, like to get clients. That's the main way I got clients really was from my Instagram.
Because there's some older coaches on here, right, that aren't too, or even some coaches my age or younger, like your age, that aren't great on social media, right, and don't understand how to use it and navigate it as a tool to go ahead and grow themselves and their followers, their likes, and their views. How did you do that? Right? Like, could you break it down for us on like how you actually use social media and like how you plan out the post and how you choose like what videos to use and whatnot? So some of our older coaches, some of our coaches my age, and some of our younger coaches understand that social media can be used as an important tool.
Yeah, I mean, uh, there's like a lot to it. It's not that complicated once you get into it. I mean, like you said, I'm young, so I guess I already knew how like Instagram and TikTok works, so that kind of helps. But I mean, the app in itself is pretty easy to use. I'm mostly just using Instagram right now. I'm kind of just focusing on one and trying to like really build it, especially since TikTok is like seeming a little unsure in the States right now. So, it's maybe not the best to use for me personally. But yeah, Instagram Reels is obviously like really important because that's what gets you to reach people that aren't in your following. So it's different than like a regular post, obviously. And then that's how like you grow like the algorithm, I guess you can say. Like if people start liking it or seeing more of it, then more of your posts will start being seen. And then yeah, so in there, I just picking the videos. I mean, I just film like things that I'm doing in my workout, or like not even sometimes most of what I film is actually not even in my program right now. Cause obviously I stick to a set program for like 4 or 5 weeks. So, and then you see me posting a whole bunch of different exercises, but I'm just doing that like at the end of my workout, just filming for Instagram purposes. And then, yeah, just film it, just edit it on there, just add caption, post, and then yeah, I prepare drafts for like the week. That way it's like all done and then it's just all there. And every, like, I used to post every day. Recently, I've been like a little less like consistent, I guess, because I had a tournament and I went to Miami. So it's been busy. But
Living life.
yeah, exactly. A little off season work. But yeah, I try to post every like 2 weeks at least, I'd say. Not 2 weeks, 2 days. Sorry. So yeah, I think the big thing is consistency because like the more you post, the more they get seen. And yeah, I think I've been like a proof of that a little bit because I started and I had like I think 1,000 something followers or 2,000, and then in like 3 months I grew to like 10K. So yeah, like and now I've been gaining like 100 every day pretty much. Like it kind of depends the days, but it's pretty stable. If I keep posting, it kind of just grows, you know? So, and I think the more you grow, the more people see that you're legit because you have more followers, and then like being verified helps also, and then it just kind of keeps growing.
With the verification badge, like has it helped you get more like sponsorships and deals and whatnot to kind of, because like you said, you guys aren't paid like super high. Like has it helped you, get like clothing deals or food or like anything like that?
Well, I'm kind of like in the process of doing all that, so I have like two or three brands right now that I'm like talking with and like discussing with. So one of them is for sure happening soon, so that I'm excited about. And then I think it's also like a lot of work because I've been reaching out to the brands. I've had some brands reach out to me, but they weren't necessarily something I like connected with, or the type of brand that I want to like be seen with or big enough, let's say for my liking, I guess we can say. So I've been like reaching out to brands I actually like and things that I actually use because I mean that's obviously more beneficial to me if I can get free products from things I already use, then I kind of save on that and then posting about it. So I'll be doing that pretty shortly. You'll see, stay tuned. But yeah, what remind me the question again? I think I like went off track.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see like what it entails. But you're not only coaching, like strength and conditioning. Like with this being said, like you're also coaching the next athlete that comes after you, like how to brand and market themselves on, at this level that you guys like, and also fighting to get equal pay,
Hmm.
because you guys aren't. It's almost like the WNBA, right? Like now we see a rise in WNBA because of how much push the older generation took to kind of get them to get in the public eye and be viewed and show that like these girls are just playing as good as the men and even more technical than the men at times. And now you're doing that same thing with the soccer level over here in Europe. So kudos to you for doing that, and to all the little girls out there that are watching and want to become, professional soccer player. Like you got to look up to Coach Melissa because she's actually doing things the correct way. Because that's how we found her, right? We went on social media and we saw what she was doing, and it was tremendous work. But if you had to tell 16-year-old Melissa one thing right now, the best piece of advice, what would it be?
Hmm. Like regarding like reaching my goals with soccer and strength and conditioning, or
We can go both paths,
yeah.
strength conditioning, soccer, and then we can go just like in life.
Okay. Okay, let's start with like soccer and stuff. I mean, for me, I think was just remember my passion because I think this is maybe more of like personal. I'm sure there's other athletes going through this as well, but I think you get so caught up in like how serious it gets and like how like just the pressure and all that, like it's so easy to put so much pressure on yourself because there's like kind of a lot at stake, like you're trying to get a scholarship, you're trying to play pro, like, and all you can see is like that, like the result that you want. But it's kind of just important to focus also on the moment. Obviously, it's kind of cheesy, but really like stay in the moment and enjoying where you're at right now. because really that's like all that's guaranteed, you know, like the future you can control it a little bit by how hard you work in the moment, but like if you know you're working hard and you're doing what you got to do, then you kind of have to just like let go of the rest because you can't control the actual results. And that's a big thing. And then obviously, like I said, passion for me was important because I think getting so serious, I kind of got lost and forgot why I was playing, or forgot like that I love playing soccer. You know, it kind of became more of a job than just a game at some point. And it's important to also know that even though it's my job, it's also a game, you know, and like enjoying it and having fun, because the times where I've had the most fun are the times I've played the best, really. So I think that in itself says a lot. Like when you're playing with passion and energy and you're playing with people you love and like you're surrounded by a good community, it's much easier to play well than when it's not the case, you know? I guess to continue your question, to go on like the life part of it, for life, I wish I would have like been more myself at 16. Obviously 16 is like a growing time, you know, you're self-conscious, there's a lot going on in your life, you know, you're going to, I don't know, college, or you know, a lot's going on. So it's hard to, you know, stay true to yourself. I think for me, I wish that I like, yeah, just really put myself out there and stay myself. I think I was very shy growing up, and that preventing me from, you know, creating connections or networking the way that I could have, that would have helped me now. And I think like now I'm just starting. I mean, I would say for like college really helped me with this, like becoming myself and like growing into my role. But definitely like I think sophomore years when I started, you know, being more social and like trying to connect with people and then trying to network. I think, yeah, I think the biggest thing you can do like career wise is networking. Like that's what gets you places, and that's what gets you things also. So yeah, I'd say, you know, just be yourself and don't be scared of what people think of you, really.
So then when soccer is all said and done, right, and you're still coaching, you're doing strength conditioning, where does Coach Melissa fall at in this whole puzzle? Like where do you see yourself going with it all, and what do you want to do with it?
Hmm. That's a great question. Honestly, a lot of people have asked me that. I just started it like right now because I knew if I didn't start it, I would never start it. So it was kind of just a thing where I didn't feel ready, but I was like, okay, you just have to like do it. And like, I think things will fall into place. And it is kind of what's happening. Like, I started like putting videos and saying I was ready for one-on-one clients when I was not really ready for one-on-one clients, but having someone reach out then made me have to be ready. So that's when I actually put in the work to, okay, I need like a platform to like deliver my programs on. I need to figure out like payment strategies. I need to, you know, like all the little nitty things of like having a business. I think that just came with being under pressure of having to do it. So I think that's what's going to keep happening for me, is kind of just going with the flow and seeing where it takes me. Honestly, I don't have like a specific vision, but I do have a vision because I'm like, I'm not going to stay stagnant where I am right now. I obviously want to grow it. And I think being a female in this like industry is can be really inspiring for like younger female athletes, because I like when I'm scrolling through Instagram, like it's mostly all men doing like strength and conditioning stuff. So I think that's a little bit what sets me apart, as well as like I'm sports specific and I'm a female. Like I don't really know other female goalkeepers doing this, you know? So I think that can be like a big niche for me and like help me grow. So yeah, I think the vision is to hopefully at some point live off, you know, be able to live off the business I'm building.
I mean, you didn't hear it here first. I mean, you might have heard it here first, right? If you guys want to reach out to Coach Melissa, she's here trying to help goalkeepers and all athletes, and especially younger female athletes,
Mhm.
you know, get to this level that she's at right now. You know, so that's like kudos to you. Like, I want to give you your flowers for saying like, go, great for you, like stepping out there on a limb and like kind of just putting yourself out there, taking that chance and risking it on you and betting on yourself, because it's hard for a lot of athletes. I mean, especially being a younger athlete and then like just kind of getting in the professional world, like not just trying to say, hey, like my one focus is I'm just going to be a soccer player. Like you're setting up life for afterwards,
Mhm.
which is super important. But you're also like you realize there's a huge gap between, you know, how you guys are getting paid and how you guys are being treated, that Like you feel like if you help out on this side, like you can show that like you guys should be paid more,
Yeah.
like because you guys deserve it. So I think that's awesome what you're doing, and obviously we found you on Instagram. So if you guys are out there, reach out to Coach Melissa on Instagram, and she'll definitely answer. Right? Maybe if you ask something crazy, she might not answer, but if you are in there and ask something that you want to be specifically answered with the sports and conditioning side, strength and conditioning side, she will answer. But we've got our last segment. It's called the 90-second round, right? You've got one-word answers. There are 10 questions,
Okay.
right? They can be all across the board. Only one-word answer. Are you ready for it?
Okay. I don't get any more context than that. Just one.
That's it. Yeah. I'm sorry. It could be sports related. It could be life related. It won't be anything that's going to throw you under the bus, but it will be fun.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. Here we go. 90 seconds. What is your favorite post-workout snack?
Muscle milk. That's 2 words.
Favorite soccer team? Well, you can use 2 words.
Sorry, you cut off.
Best concert been to?
Russ.
You ever been to?
Russ.
Pizza or burger?
Burger. 100%.
Dream vacation spot?
Italy.
Your favorite exercise?
Shit, this is hard. Chin-ups.
Which do you prefer? A good sprint session or a heavy lift session? Best coach in the industry?
Well, that's a hard one. I feel like I don't know enough to like say that, honestly.
Okay, we'll pass that one. What is your number one flaw as a coach?
Impatient.
Would you rather be in an octagon with a gorilla, tiger, or a bear?
I think bear, because they're not. I don't think they're too fast compared to the others, right? I don't know.
They're pretty large and they run pretty fast. They can climb. But if you choose bear is it.
Well, maybe it's fine.
Okay, that is it for the day, Coach. We appreciate you coming on and being here with us and sharing all of your knowledge. And also, again, if you guys have the opportunity to reach out to Coach Melissa, reach out to her. She's young in the game, but she has a bunch of knowledge. If you got a chance to check out her videos, she knows what she's talking about, right? I can vouch for that. I've seen them. I go ahead and vet through things. I know what I'm looking at. All right, she's doing great work over there in Canada and in Portugal. So, again, if you got a chance to reach out to her, go ahead and do that. And thank you for your time today,
awesome.
Coach.
Thank you so much for having me, Coop. Appreciate it.
Of course.